Do you guys dream about owning a home or a condominium down on the beautiful beaches of Alabama, say Orange Beach, Gulf Shores, or maybe even Fairhope? Then let me tell you about First Class Real Estate South Home Group's owner, Celeste Hagler. She has brokers down there in the beautiful beaches of Alabama to help you purchase the home of your dreams and to live where you love in the state of Alabama. You can contact Celeste Hagler at 205-861-5698. Contact Celeste Hagler today to help you live where you love in the state of Alabama. Today on the Stingray Show, we are taking a trip back in time to the mid 2010s and talk with an individual who played at South Carolina as a defensive end for the Gamecocks under head coach Steve Spurrier. He was also a part of the era that produced Jadeveon Clowney, Melvin Ingram, Stephon Gilmore, and Marcus Lattimore. He was a part of one of the best defenses in South Carolina history, especially in 2012 and 2013 when South Carolina was consistently in the top 10. He then went on to have time in the NFL. We are going to be joined today by the former South Carolina Gamecock great Chaz Sutton to talk about his time there at South Carolina under Steve Spurrier right now on this edition of the Stingray Show. And I will remind you, he was a part of the team that took South Carolina to its first and only SEC championship game there in 2010.
Hi, this is Tim Brando with a reminder. Look out, you're about to feel the buzz of Stingray.
This is Stephen Ray, a.k.a. Stingray, coming to you live from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
I'm Heath Hopkins. I'm here in DeSoto County, Mississippi, right outside of Memphis, Tennessee.
You know, Mark, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you feel that responsibility to pay it forward and give some kid a chance coming up in the ranks, kind of like Tony did for you?
Why do you think I'm talking to Stingray tonight?
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
No, I mean, look, no.
Hey, Stingray, Here's the deal. When you get involved with Texas, it's like getting married to a stripper. and let me explain this. It looks good. It's kind of sexy on the surface. Yeah. But then you get the baggage, you get the drama, you get all that eventually comes with it. And that's what you get with Texas, and that's what the Big 12 learned.
And Heath, any thoughts on our show moving forward?
Hey, with the Stingray Show, if you don't like it, you better learn to love it, because it's the best show going today, baby. Woo!
And with that, we want to welcome you inside yet another edition of the Stingray Show. And Heath, I was going over Chaz Sutton's statistics right now. He played in 48 games as a South Carolina Gamecock. He had a total of 20 tackles for loss in his career and 9 sacks, plus the most impressive, he had 1 interception return for a touchdown in the 2010 season, and he returned it for 59 yards. Chaz Sutton was definitely a beast for Cocky and the Gamecocks.
Well, one thing that stood out to me about Chaz was he was named a permanent captain, one of 4 permanent captains on that team, and that says everything.
Yep.
And so when you are a permanent captain, you have the respect of all your teammates, the coaching staff, and you're just not a captain for a game. You're not a captain for this. You're not a captain because you did this. You're a captain because you do everything right.
Right.
You lead by example. You lead vocally. You lead in the weight room. You lead in the off season. You lead in the classroom. You lead on and off the field. And that's what Chaz did. And so, you don't get named captain, permanent captain, by just doing most of the things right. So that was the one thing. And I also will say this, Stephen. I make a joke on the show. I got too many kids and I can't remember everything. Before kids, I remember everything. After kids, I can't remember squat. I remember the name Chaz Sutton, and that says a lot because we cover the SEC and everything, but there's so many players every year. They're just adding teams and more players and the transfer portal and this and that. And it starts getting a big jumbled mess. The name Chaz Sutton immediately stood out. I was like, I remember that guy.
Yeah.
He was a great player.
And Heath, here's a little geography nerd for you since you are one. He grew up and was born in the beautiful city
of Savannah, Georgia.
Yep, that is correct. And unfortunately, we lost Chaz. He is back with us. So without further ado, here is our guest this morning, Mr. Chaz Sutton, the former defensive lineman and defensive end for the South Carolina Gamecocks. Chaz, how are things with you on this Wednesday morning?
Oh man, it's bright and early. Got the kids running around with plenty of juice this morning. I got two young ones. I got a 2-year-old and an 8-month-old. They're just rolling all over the bed and just being very active this morning. Then I got an 11-year-old. He's up and at it, just running around. So the kids are up bright and early. We are bright and early. The Sutton house is in full effect right now. So it's a great day.
Chaz, I didn't think I would go to Jerry Seinfeld at the beginning of this interview, but Jerry Seinfeld said, you know what a 2-year-old's like? It's like the blender on high with the lid off. And that is the most accurate thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yes. That's my daughter, man. Once she's up and running, man, it's pure chaos, fun, adorable chaos until she puts her head down for bed at night. So that's pretty much how I can explain it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, Chaz, what have you been up to since your college football career has been over? What are you doing nowadays?
Oh, right now I'm kind of like in the freelance stage. I just had had like a separation period from a transitional period from my recent employer where I was in logistics, port logistics. Did that for 8 years. Now I'm just kind of in the space of working with the youth. I just recently had a Nike camp out in Savannah, Georgia, that went pretty well. It was a great turnout, 60 kids for the first year. Some of the community folks and businesses poured into the event, so it really turned out well. And we're looking to be bigger and better next year for 27, and then also just also add other dates and other locations, like possibly put one in Columbia, and then also maybe put one out here in New Orleans where I'm stationed at now, and then maybe one more other location. But right now I'm just in the space of coaching, mentoring, and just giving back to the youth, and just kind of looking for that next phase of what's next for Chaz Sutton. I had a lot of good ups and downs in the port logistics. It taught me a lot. And the biggest thing was I knew when I got into it, I was going to pivot eventually at some point. It just once I got into it, my career accelerated so fast, and I was able to gain a lot from just working with this one particular employer. And I got promoted through the ranks very, very fast, and it was very rewarding. And when you go out and you plan the day, and you can accomplish a lot, and it says a lot, especially when it comes from someone that's only been around for such a little time of 8 years. You got some folks that's been around for 30, 40 years, and the amount of accomplishments I made well, when you look at it on paper, it shows someone that's been around for 40 years, and that's refreshing to have, especially on a resume. So for me, I can hang my hat on that, and then also I can walk in other rooms now and say, hey, look, this is what I demand as a logistics professional, versus just saying, hey, I'm just getting started. No, I have the experience to say, hey, look, I understand what all these operations and how they function and what's the nuances of them. So I can hang my hat on that. But just right now in this moment, just kind of taking a hiatus and giving back to the community and focusing on myself and my own personal endeavors that I want to accomplish for myself, it's been a great thing for sure.
Any chance we will see you on the sidelines being a coach anytime soon?
Hey, look, it's funny. Some of my friends and just acquaintances and the colleagues, they asked me like, "Hey, man, would you ever be a coach?" I coached in high school. I was a defensive coordinator at Islands High School in Savannah. Loved it, man. I had a great time doing it. And the first year out, this was a team that went 0-10 like the previous 2 years, and I, took a team, implemented a defense, and we gapped every gap out, and just made it very simple and basic for the kids. We're dealing with 14 and 18-year-old kids. Um, and the biggest thing I took from just coaching those kids was trying to meet them at their level, so that way I can help them be successful on the field. So that was the biggest thing my first year, just giving them something that can help them stop thinking and make them play faster. And from that, we was able to make the playoffs the first year in school history. So that was something that was very near and dear to my heart, just to say, man, look, I can hang my hat on just having one of the top defenses in the state of Georgia by just producing a team like this. Like, we literally were pretty much holding teams to an average of 14 points a game, and we just couldn't score any points. That was the biggest thing. Like, the most points that get scored on us in a game would maybe be 14 points or 20 points at best. And we just couldn't put any points on the board. That we just, offense, we struggled a lot. Offensive line up front, we just didn't have the kids necessary at the time. So I mean, but it just going through that phase of coaching was great. But just in this space now, if someone was to come to me and say, "Hey, Chaz, we want you to come on to University of and be an assistant or whatever the case may be," I'll be wide ears to listen to it, just to say, "Hey, look, this is an opportunity that I think I'll, definitely pursue for sure."
Yes.
Interesting. Chaz, you grew up in Savannah, and this is going to lead to a football question, but Savannah, one of the most beautiful cities in America. When did you know that you lived in a beautiful city? Because a lot of cities don't look like Savannah. Now, every city has a good
Yeah.
part of town, a bad part of town, and this and that. But when
hmm
did you learn that most cities are not as old as Savannah and they don't look as nice as Savannah? How old were you when you figured that out?
I will say this: once I left at 18 years old, and got to college and started moving around and seeing different things, and then once I graduated from college and started going to different areas of the country and just started seeing different cities, and then you get into your 30s, and now you go back home and you're like, "Oh man, Savannah is actually beautiful," because as a kid you don't appreciate it, and now when you go back as an adult and you're more in tune to the finer things in life, and you're just like, "Oh man, Vic's on the River, this is a nice restaurant, they got a piano playing, this is great." And then you're walking down Bay Street and you see all the old history there, and then you walk into like the different squares downtown, City Market area, and then also River Street, where you have all these nice lodging places. Man, it's Savannah's a beautiful place for sure. It's my home. It'll always be my home. It'll always be in my heart. But for me, just being an adult, I had to get away. So because
Yeah.
I always thrived in my comfort. I always thrived outside of my comfort zone. So if I'm comfortable, it's not good for me. It's never been good for me. I always said, man, I got to get away. I got to be uncomfortable, so that way I know I'm gonna do something. But if I'm just sitting laid back, comfortable, then it's just like, all right, well, we just gonna lie in this and
Mm.
just just relax. But no, Savannah's a beautiful place, and I've been other beautiful places in the United States, but Savannah is top notch for sure.
Yes.
Now, coming out of high school there in Savannah, you had tons of offers from everybody.
30.
So let's talk about that briefly. What was the worst recruiting pitch that you got?
I think the worst recruiting pitch came from Rich Rodriguez when he wanted me to play fullback at West Virginia. I
Wow.
just, like, so in high school, I did play running back. However, just going to West Virginia to go up there to play in Morgantown to play fullback just wasn't, it just didn't sound attractive to me at all. And I just didn't, I just didn't see myself in that space. And then also you had the smaller schools. I know one time Savannah State. we could talk about it now because it's almost 20 years later, and the scope of college football has changed so much. So Savannah State came to the school, and me and one of my teammates at the time, we're being recruited by everybody heavily, and the head coach and I guess some of his coordinators came in, and it was like, look, man, we really want you guys to come to Savannah State. What it's going to take. So then they pitched to us, if me and him were to sign to Savannah State, they'd take our whole senior class. And I'm just like, okay, our whole senior class is not good. The entire senior class, we got some studs in our senior class, but not everybody's a stud. So, I mean, we can't. How are we going to do this? You're just going to you're just giving away free scholarships at this point. So, for me, I just knew I wanted to get away. But I mean, to anybody else, it sound great. Oh, I can help out my teammates. But for me, I was just like, nah, this is a moment for me to be selfish. I earned these other opportunities. So, it just didn't sound right from the start. Hey,
Right.
look, if you come, we'll take your whole senior class. And it was like 20 of us.
That's what I was getting ready to ask. How
So
many
it's
were
like,
there?
no. Yeah, it was like 20 guys. So it's, you're going to take 20 guys and give them a full ride. Like, how is this going to work out? So it just didn't sound right from the start. And it just it never crossed my mind that I would remain in the area once I got the opportunity to move on to the college ranks.
So, Chaz, you didn't want to lock arms and sing Country Roads Take Me Home after a win up at West Virginia? Come on, man.
No, 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 no. I mean, so it was funny. It was funny when speaking of Virginia, before the University of Florida came in, I almost committed to Virginia Tech.
Right.
So Virginia Tech was recruiting me as an outside linebacker, defensive end, and at the time, I mean, Coach Charlie Wiles and Coach Torian Gray, they were doing a great job, man. And I mean, I haven't taken a visit up here. I was planning on taking a visit, but once Florida pulled me in, and they were the hottest thing at that time.
Yeah.
Once I went down to Gainesville and saw what they were doing and the guys that were recruiting, I was like, man, look, this is a place for me to be. That, like, if I want to get better and I want to be one of the top guys, or I want to compete against the best every day, then this is where I need to be. So, I just love what they were doing at the time, and it wasn't even about scheme. It was just the in your face, like, hey, we're the Florida Gators, and we're coming for everybody. We're coming for everything. And that's what attracted me to it. And as a 17, 18-year-old kid, I was like, it's not far away from home. It's three hours, an hour, like a little bit over 3 hours down the road. So for me, hey, why not? And unfortunately, I didn't end up there.
Right.
I had some issues academically in high school, so it just didn't work out. And then lo and behold, the Gamecocks, they stuck behind me the entire time. The day they offered me till signing day, they was like, look, we have a plan. If you can't get qualified, we have a plan to get you qualified. So what that said a lot to me at the time. But yeah, West Virginia was, I mean, I like what they were doing, but just going there to play fullback was just not a thing. And then, I just didn't see myself going that far away from home.
Mm-hmm.
So, Chaz, I've got to know, man, we all enjoy the charismatic and exciting Steve Spurrier. What was your first interaction with Coach Spurrier there at South Carolina?
Oh man, my first interaction with Coach it's funny. So I was on a recruiting trip. It was my official visit. And I just remember hanging out with guys like Eric Noah Woods, Stephen Garcia, Jasper Brankley, the Lindsay twins. So, you come in and, you want to fit in as with your new possible teammates. So, we hanging out, we out on the night on the town. And of course, booze is flowing and, everybody's having a great time. So the next morning, I go down to breakfast and there's the position coach that was coaching me at the time, God rest his soul, Brad Lauren, the defensive coordinator Ellis Johnson, and of course Coach Spurrier. So we, at this time, I'm like the last big recruit that they're trying to, get to commit to South Carolina. And Well, we're down at the hotel. We having breakfast, and it's so funny. I really don't remember most of that morning, but I just remember sitting there and Coach Spurrier just asking me about Savannah and all these different things, and I'm like still hungover and like got a headache, and I'm just like trying to get through the conversation. And he's like, "Hey, what? Hey, Chaz, how's Savannah?" He never said Savannah. He said Savannah. So how's Savannah? And I'm just like, coach, it's Savannah, not Savannah. But he always mispronounced everybody's name. Like it didn't matter who it was. So like with you being Steven, he'd call you Stevie, or you being Heath, he'll call you Heathy. He'll find a way to put like a Y or like a IE on
Mhm.
someone's name. Like he just called me Chaz, but a lot of other folks he messed up their names all the time. Like it was kind of funny to me, I always laughed at it.
That's funny. Chaz, I want to ask you about Coach Spurrier. Did he let his offense have their way with the defense in practice? Was he that kind of coach? We always hear these offensive-minded coaches that, let him complete that pass. Don't break it. Don't hit him.
Yeah.
Let him catch the ball first. That always drives me crazy. Coach Spurrier doesn't come across as that kind of guy, but was he that kind of guy in practice where he would always kind of let the offense kind of get the upper hand or win?
He was very offensive minded to the T. Like he didn't come to Coach Spurrier. If he came to a defensive meeting, that means we sucked that Saturday. Like last Saturday, we were terrible. That's the only way he came to a defensive meeting. That's the only way he would come. So at the old practice fields, you had offense on one field and defense on the other field. So the defense always practiced close to I guess that's Bluff Road or whatnot, and then the offense practice away from Bluff Road next to the Armory. But anyway, like anytime we lined up in a team period and the defense started kicking the offense ass, like he got ballistic. Like he went ballistic and just got pissed off, throwing the visor. One time he took his shirt off, and I'm just like, I mean, it's practice, coach. But I mean, we made each other better. But at this, it was a lot of times. Like we had a lot of top talent on our defense, and we got the best of them a lot of times. And I remember he got pissed off and called up practice many of days because the defense was pretty much getting the best of offense. Now, if the offense is getting the best of defense, he'll keep going. He'll keep pushing practice 5 minutes pass, 10 minutes pass, or whatever the case may be. But for him, if the offense had a terrible day, you see some of the infamous post practice media outlets or whatnot, and he'll just be just ragging the team. But it was mainly directed towards the offense. Like, yeah, these guys are not ready to play. These guys suck. He just talking bad about the team. But
Mm-hmm.
it really, when that happens, more than likely his quarterbacks had a bad day or the offense had a bad day. Like that's just what it was with coach. Yep.
So
So
he always used the media to send messages to his team, didn't he?
Yeah, and it got up under our skin bad. It got up under our skin so bad. Well, like, cause we'll see it later on Twitter or somewhere else, and we're just like, dang, coach just said we suck. I remember one time we had like this. We had so up in the stadium they got this big area, we call it the cruise center, and we have like this dinner with donors and everybody right before the season. I forgot what I want to say. It was a 2011 season. Yeah, it was 2011 season. So coach, we just had a scrimmage. We go upstairs and everybody's eating. Then Coach Spurrier gets on the mic. Well, I don't know why you guys are here trying to support these guys. These guys, they couldn't be the junior varsity team. And I'm just like, wow. And then he's just lighting us up in front of everybody. And so now all of us are like just looking like what happened? But defensively, we're looking like, okay, man, we didn't play or we didn't practice bad. And of course, when you think about it years later, you look at, okay, how did the quarterbacks play that in that particular practice, or how did the offensive line, how did they function in that practice, or were the receivers dropping balls, or did they make any plays that day? So it's like a lot of different things that you look at and you wonder why he said the things what he said. But then a lot of times Coach Spurrier did those things to motivate us. Like he was
Mm-hmm.
negative, like in a positive way, he was negative to motivate us to say, okay, Yeah. We're going to go into this game next week against East Carolina and get our butts whooped, but no, we're going to put it on them.
So, Chaz, we had your former teammate, Stephen Garcia, on the show, and Steve Spurrier is known for his one-liners. And we asked Stephen Garcia this question, and he said after he threw a bad pass, "Hey, don't worry about it. It's not your fault. I recruited you and put you in that position." What is the funniest thing that you ever heard Coach Spurrier ever say as a one-liner?
Yeah, so for
No! We lost him.
He got teleported somewhere. Give him a second. He'll teleport back. Steven.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah, so
Have you got
I'm
us?
sorry about that.
That's okay.
No, back then, we just played this was 2010. I had a broken hand. I didn't even play in this game. I didn't travel. So we played Arkansas, and Arkansas was loaded at this time. They had Joe Adams, they had Ryan Mallett at quarterback. Man, Bob Petrino calling him. He's the coach, the play caller. I mean, they are loaded. So, this particular team at Arkansas, man, they put it on us. And I remember vividly just Coach Spurrier coming in the meeting room, and he just cuts on the film, the defensive film, and he's leading the meeting. Like usually, once we do special teams, we have a team meeting, special teams, then we break up. Offense go their way, defense go their way, and we break up into positions. But this particular meeting, he kept the whole entire team there, and he just was ragging anybody that had a missed assignment on defense, he was ragging them. So he started with one guy. It's like, what kind of tackle is that? It's not my fault. I shouldn't have put you out there. I guess you're not good enough. So, and then he's like, this guy, then he's like, what, why are you doing all this diving? You got your head down? You scared? You don't want to tackle anybody? Hey, coach, we might need to find somebody else for this guy. So he's just going in on everybody. And I'm just like, and I'm sitting there like, I'm glad I didn't play in that game. Like, geez. Like, but he's just like got the laser beamer, just circling guys, highlighting guys, and I mean, but with Garcia, I mean, he's right. Like Coach Spurrier, like he just, he pretty much had things for just anybody, and like even in that same meeting, it was one guy, and he was offensive lineman. I guess I think the guy that played for the Patriots at the time was Trey Flowers. He played on that team, so he was just killing this guy the whole entire night. So Garcia was running for his life. And he was like, "Well, guys, you know who I seen down in the weight room this morning? This guy. Well, why am down there? I mean, he can't even block a scout team, guys. I don't even know why he's down there. He's one of those guys. And I mean, he has some good one-liners, but also he has other like different like jabs that he gives guys, and it's just like, yeah. Nah, I need to find a way to stay out of that line of fire for sure.
Chaz, I always heard about other coaches. Like Nick Saban's always going to get you one time or another. Coaches, players, the water boy, support staff, team doctor, like he's going to get you at one time or another.
Mm-hmm.
We heard that Dan Mullen would blow up on support staff, coaches, players, anybody and everybody. Like there's a time.
Mm-hmm.
Was Coach Spurrier that kind of guy where he's just going to get you? Doesn't matter if it's a trainer, doesn't matter if it's a equipment guy, it doesn't matter if it's the bus driver. Like he's going to get you one time or another. Is there a funny story where Coach Spurrier just blew up on a coach or somebody else or anything?
I never really saw him. That's one thing about Coach Spurrier. I never really saw him like just go crazy on a coach at all. Like the main guys he always just lost it on were the quarterbacks. Like the quarterbacks, they were always in a line of fire, no matter what. And then, of course, the infamous, visor toss. That's usually, somebody on the field did something bad. They get to the sideline, and of course, he may lose it on them then. But it's kind of like it was almost like a hidden thing because you never really saw it on camera. And then, of course, sometimes with the referees, I remember with like the infamous, Jadeveon Clowney hit in the Outback Bowl.
Yeah.
And I was standing right there. Like a lot of us were standing right there, and we're just sitting here like, what do you see? This is not first down. Like, what's going on here? Like, and then I say to the ref out loud, I was like, damn, this guy must be got cataracts. And he was like, shut up, 90, get back. That's when he told me to shut up and get back. And because he got pissed off what I said, and then that's when Coach Spurrier's like, "Hey, what are you looking at? What's like?" And he just lost it on the guy, and then I'm just like, "Okay, they're trying to cheat us at this point."
Right.
So, but I mean, I really never really just saw him like go at a coach to like the point of what Saban does, or even or even a player. Like I seen where he'll single him out of meetings or whatnot, and he'll kind of like pick at him or poke at him or whatnot. But I never really just saw him get up in their face, grab the face mask, or just
Right.
do things like Saban, or even like I was looking at a time where it was a video, and this was a time where I was playing the what's the coach McElwain from Florida at the time.
Jim McElwain.
So Jim McElwain went at Fred Taylor's son, the running back. So I guess he did like a little cut the throat gesture to the crowd, and McElwain just lit him up in front of the teammate on the side, in front of his teammates on the sideline. But I never really seen Coach Spurrier do stuff like that. I never really seen him just get in players' faces and do that. Now we did have coaches on the staff, like my D-line coach. He was that guy. He came from the Saban tree though, so that's what he's best known for. Like he was the guy that Coach Lauren didn't care who you were. He didn't care if you was 6'5", 6'8", 300 pounds, 260 pounds. He was gonna light you up if you did something wrong. That's just who he was, and that's how he motivated his guys.
Chaz, you told part of the story that I wanted to hear. You talked about the Outback Bowl and that play. I wasn't going to ask you about the hit. We've all seen it. You can watch it on YouTube a trillion times. But it was right before that, and you mentioned it. You guys stopped Michigan, and they pulled out the chains,
Mm-hmm.
and it is very visible to anybody with a tiny bit of eyesight that they were short.
Yeah.
And that referee motioned first down, and you even mentioned just a second ago, like, man, they're cheating us.
Yeah.
What in the world? Because I've always wanted to know, and I heard you say a little bit, but what did Coach Spurrier say? Because I remember he pointed and he started getting mad. He threw his arms up and turned around, and he started yelling. What was all of that right there? Because I was like, man, I would have loved to have been right there to hear what he said.
Yeah. So Coach Spurrier was just, basically like, what are you doing? Are you blind? Like, what's going on here? Like, he's pointing at the ball, and everybody else is pointing. Like, the whole sideline is going crazy at this point. So, we're just, and then of course it's on the big board. You can see it, and everybody in the crowd is like, and then of course you get the boos and everything. But Coach Spurrier was just going at the ref, and the ref was like, no, it's first down. So then, all right, defense, go back out there, and lo and behold, you just hear boom, and I'm just like,
Very next play.
the very next play, and it sounded just like a car wreck. That's how loud it was, and you just had to be there because I'm pretty sure everybody in the stadium heard when he hit that guy. That's how loud that hit was. Like they call it the hit, but it was really a hit. Like I couldn't envision it no other. Like it just lined up so perfectly. The tackle blocked down, and then when I talked to when I was with the Titans and I talked to Taylor, and then he has his podcast and they kind of bring that up sometimes with Busting with the Boys. Taylor was supposed to block out. He was supposed to block Clowney, or he was supposed to like at least block him for a second and let the fullback get up to that level to take over that block. And he moves up to the linebacker, but for whatever reason, that didn't happen that way. He just blocked he took a veer release and blocked down, and Clowney came right off his butt, got up under the fullback and killed that running back. You know, like I think that might have ended that guy's career, even though he wasn't hurt. Just taking that type of hit, and then now you got scouts and everybody else is watching, like, oh, you that guy that took a hit from Clowney. That's his claim to fame.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't get to play football at a high level. I played in high school. I was not a good football player. And there's a couple of times that I had big hits or, knocked down the ball, whatever it might have been. But there's times where I'm like, man, I can't wait to see that on film. I can't wait to hear everyone talking about it. What were you guys like? What was Davian like? Was he just smiling for the rest of the game? I mean,
look,
I was like, man, I bet you everybody couldn't wait to see that hit again. But what was it like on the sideline?
Man, it lit a fire up under everybody, man. We on the sideline. Man, we're on the sideline going crazy. We, of course, me, like I always tell my family, my wife, and kids, like my sons, they always ask me about my days of playing football. I was like, the guy you see right now is not the guy that played football. Like I was the guy that you like, all right, this guy's a lunatic. Like, I don't know what is wrong with this guy. Like I was the guy that was just blurting out, like, if I was in a game right now with in that Michigan game with Devin Garner or Aaron Murray or whoever, whatever quarterback or whatever guy, opposing guy that I was going up against, I'd blurt out all kind of crazy stuff to him, or just talk about their girlfriends, their moms. I didn't care what I would say, but I would say something to somebody, and that's just the kind of mindset we play with at that time. It's like when you get between the white lines, they're your enemies. Like
Yes.
it's time for war. So that was just my mindset. So, when that hit happened, we just went crazy and was like, man, let's go out here, let's win this game. Like at that moment in time, that was the turning tide for that game because we came out strong. We scored. I think we went up like 17-10 or 21-10 or something like that. And once Ace returned that punt, I was like, oh, this game is over. But then they started making some plays and they came back and got into the game. And then, once that bad call happened and then Clowney makes the hit, which I think we're still down, or it's 21-22 or something like that. And, at that point, I was like, yeah, we're going to win this game. There's no way we're losing this game today.
Hey, Chaz, your audio is just a little bit choppy. Do you mind refreshing real quick?
Stephen, I remember watching that Outback Bowl, watching it live.
Right.
And just remember seeing that hit, and I was just like, wow, that was such a huge hit.
So, Chaz, that, of course, in the Outback Bowl was there in 2013. Let's go back a couple of years to the championship run that you guys made to the SEC championship game. And early in that season, you guys had an opportunity on the road at Auburn to knock off Cam Newton, but came up just a little bit short. Looking back, what went wrong that night in Auburn that ultimately cost you guys the opportunity to knock off Cam?
I would tell you what went wrong. Cam Newton happened. That was the birth of Superman that night. You see a guy, he breaks a 60-yard run and he dives from the 6-yard line and scores. Like the birth of Cam Newton happened that night. Like when I saw, I always knew Cam was good because we're both from the state of Georgia, and I saw him at Westlake, and I was like, man, this guy is great. Because they came down to Statesboro and played them in the playoffs, and then from there he went to Florida, and I went on the visit and met him there. And then of course he has family ties to Savannah, so that's where we connected at. But just seeing him in that game and actually playing against him in that game, like you had a true defensive end that was running around throwing the football and was hard to tackle. And Cam had this mindset that he would not be stopped. And you could just see it on his face. He played with confidence the whole entire game, smiling, just confident the whole time. Like he was never rattled in that game at all. Like even in Miles' mind, the stuff he was drawing up on offense, the tackle over scheme, and just they're coming out in different formations, and I mean they pretty much schemed up against us in the second half to take over and come out victorious. But that night was the birth of Superman camp,
Right.
in my opinion.
Chaz, if you were a recruit today, who would you like to play for and why? If you could pick any coach to play for, it could be a position coach, it could be a head coach, it could be whatever. Who would you like to play for and why?
I'm definitely going down to Miami to play for Coach Jason Taylor. No doubt in my mind. This is a guy that did it for a long time. All pro guy, Pro Bowler guy. I mean, tons of sacks. I mean, this is a guy that did it at a high level, and you see what the guys like Ruben Bain and the other guy on the other side, what they're doing at the University of Miami. He's probably second to none when it comes to edge guys. So
Right.
for me, I definitely want to go learn from a guy that's actually done it. And I know how it is. Like you do have some coaches that didn't play at the high level. They're great coaches, but when you have a guy that has that experience and he can kind of walk you through the necessary steps to get to where you want to be in success of a professional athlete or a collegiate athlete, then of course, by far, this is a guy that I want to learn from for sure.
So, Chaz, I do want to ask you, let's go to the next week in 2010 after the Auburn loss. You guys upset number 1 Alabama there in Columbia, and you guys beat Mark Ingram and Nick Saban. Talk about that incredible upset and what it was like playing in that game, knocking off Alabama.
That was a game that, I mean, like going into that game, it was just a scary feeling of like, okay, we here. Let's, nobody gave us a chance. Like nobody gave us a chance. They, hey, Mark Ingram, Trent Richardson, Julio Jones, like these guys are going to come in and destroy us at home, and nobody gave us a chance. And we go into the game, and things just, we make a play here, make a play there. Things just swing our way, and then Alshon and Garcia just had a hell of a day. And then
Right.
of course the defensive line, Melvin went crazy that day, Traven went crazy that day. Devin Taylor had a good game. Cliff Matthews made some plays. Like on defense, man, we pretty much held our own and was able to stop the run. I think they might have. I don't think they had a 100-yard rusher that game. So that says a lot, especially when you have a guy that's coming back as a potential Heisman candidate. So it's one like because the year before in Alabama, Mark Ingram lit us up.
Yes.
That was how he lit us up. So I think, we had something to prove that game, and we did. So we came out strong, and and in the end was victorious. And it was like Christmas in Columbia early in the year. So when we win that game, if you was a South Carolina Gamecock football player that night, you pretty much had access to anything.
Yes.
That's the only way I could describe it, just based off of the type of night or that weekend we had after we were, riding on that high cloud of taking down the number 1 team in Alabama.
We have heard that story multiple times. As a matter of fact, Stephen joined us on the show, and I said, Stephen, there was a rumor that you were in your pajamas behind the bar serving, and he goes, I don't know if I was in my pajamas or if I was shirtless, but yes, I was behind the bar serving drinks.
Yes, that is actual factual. Like we walked into this place. Shout out to Village Idiots. That's just was a staple for us to hang out at. At the time, that's where all the entire team went. No matter what. Even when we had recruits come in. Hey, this is our hangout spot. This is where we go. We go here for food. We go here for whatever. The girls, pizza, drinks, whatever. That's where we hang out at. So that particular night, Garcia's behind the bar, standing on the bar, serving drinks. It was a crazy night. And then
Yeah.
what was crazy at that time, Village always was packed, but this particular night they had a line down the sidewalk for people trying to get in because they knew the football team was going to be hanging out there. So of course they see us just walk right on in. Hey, you got people. Hey, Chaz, get me in, get me in. And you'll see some folks from class or girls that you know or maybe like or whatever. You see them, and you're like, oh, come on, you with me or whatever. But I mean, it just was you know, defeating that team like definitely gave us something to hang our hats on and build on.
Right.
For the years to come or for the next weeks to come. You're like, hey, if we can take down the number one team, we can do a lot more than what we just accomplished this
Yeah.
past Saturday.
So, Chaz, I do want to ask you in finishing up, when fans remember the name of Chaz Sutton, what do you hope that they think of?
I mean, on the field, a guy that was relentless, a guy that played with pride and passion, a guy that gave it his all for his teammates, and the name on the back of his jersey, and also the name on the front of his jersey, and just a solid guy, all around. And then off the field, respectful, mannerable, leader, just a guy that that everybody wants to you know have some type of connection to based on the type of character I have. So just a high character guy that can pretty much go in any room and connect with folks.
All right. And finally, if you could go back and give your freshman year Chaz Sutton one piece of advice, what would that be?
One piece of advice: work harder. Like when I got into college, it was a shock to me. It was a huge culture shock, and
Right.
that's one of the things I try to get the younger generation to understand now. They ask me about my days, and I'm just like, look, going into a different realm or going on a higher level, it's a lot that goes into it. So you don't want to put yourself behind the eight ball by just going in and just being okay. You want to be able to put yourself in a situation where you're able to hang with the guys that's already there, or be able to be in better shape and say, "Hey, I'm here to stand out. I'm here to, you know, come in and play right away." And that's something that if I can go back, just understanding how to prepare and get better at my position or my role on the team.
And Chaz, we have to end on something positive for you because we talked about the Jadeveon Clowney hit. We talked about the Alabama win there in 2010.
Mhm.
Also in 2010, you had your first defensive touchdown when you returned an interception 56 yards versus Troy. Please walk us through that play as you remember it and scoring your first touchdown as a South Carolina Gamecock.
That that game was funny because at the time I just came back from injury. I had a broken hand. So I just came back. That was my first game back. And I didn't think I was gonna play because I had a cast on my hand and I didn't think I was gonna play. I practiced all week and usually on Thursdays, Coach Lawrence always make us do ball drills. So we'll get on the jugs, we'll catch passes, we'll catch passes over our heads, one hand catches, all these different variations of passes. So that's something that we always did as a D line on Thursdays. Just leading up to the game.
Yeah.
So so that particular play, right before I get in, I think it was one play. So it was two plays before. So coach was like, "Hey, Chance, go, go, go." I get out there. I'm rusty. I'm just, running around. One play happens, and then okay, then the next play happens, and I'm like, all right. Then right before the half, the clock is running. They want, I guess, Troy coach wanted to help and get another play in, so he snapped the ball. That's a scramble drill, and of course, Lottie, he's able to, him and Byron was able to hit the guy, and then next thing the ball deflects up in the air as he was trying to throw it away, and I see it. I'm like, oh, that's the ball, and then blowing for sure. I just stuck my left hand out awkwardly and toward my body, and I caught it with one hand. I was like, okay, I didn't hear any whistle, so I just took off running. So I just floored it to the end zone, and as I'm going, everything like you hear the crowd. It's 80,000 people in the stands, and you don't hear none of that. It's just I'm in a zone, and I'm just all I'm doing
Right.
is just running towards the end zone, and then I finally get there, and the next thing you know, everybody just comes and tackles me and hugging. I'm like, man, we knew you were fast. We didn't think you was that fast. And I'm just like, I scored. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, oh man. So it was one of those crazy moments that I didn't picture it happening that way, but it's just like Coach Lawrence always say, run to the football. Good things happen when you run to the football. And just so happened, I was just in the vicinity, and the ball pops up, and I'm just like, all right, here's my opportunity. I caught it, and I got out of there, and and make some history on my end. So I mean,
Right.
for me, it's always like all my friends just always tell me, man, you can't catch. I got a pick six. What about you? So always telling that story about just having that moment in college football. I'll never forget that, and that's something that I can always share with my kids, or just share with other folks that that might have questions about what was my biggest moments and
Right.
yeah.
Chaz, every time we do this show, sometimes it's a few minutes after our guests leave, sometimes it's a day or two later, and it hits me. I'll think of a question that I wish I would have asked, and I actually thought of a question. So I'm glad we still got you. Ellis Johnson. I was always highly impressed with Ellis Johnson. I think he is one of the greatest defensive minds in the history of the SEC, and he made a great living at whoever they played, whoever his defense played. He shut the running game completely down. I was so impressed with Ellis Johnson doing that. What was it like playing for him, and how was he always so successful? You could have 4 All-Americans in the backfield. Didn't matter. He'd shut all 4 of them down. You could have, 3 first-round draft picks on the O-line. He would shut that running game down. What made him so successful, and what was it like playing for him?
Coach Johnson, he was all about ball. Like, he was a coach that slept in the office. He was a guy that he attention to detail. If you weren't ready to play, or if you was a guy that lacked that practice, or bust assignments, or whatever the case may be, he was on your ass. Like, he did not play. Like, he was the guy that called out anybody. He didn't care if you was American or you was scout team. He would call you out. Like, he was that guy. Like, even we have our scrimmages. On scrimmage days, we'll line up with the offense, and we'll go through 2-hour practice, and at the end of the practice, coaches get together to tally up how many times you took a playoff. We call them lows. So on Monday, or even after the games, hey, look, we had 50 lows, and he'll call out everybody. Oh, Chaz had 15. This sack of shit right here had this many. Like, that's how he talked to everybody, and that, and I mean, the way he went about the game and how he prepared, it made us better for sure. And then even on game day, when we line up against whoever, coach kept the game plan simple, so where that way we can fly around and make plays. But he also knew when to dial up things and say, okay, all right, let's go after these guys. Let's go ahead and run this fire zone. Let's get this weak side linebacker coming off the edge, or let's get this corner coming off the edge. Let's put some pressure on these guys, so that way we can get them behind schedule, behind the stick, so that way we can be successful on this series. I mean, he just had a football mind, and he went about his business by just the attention to details. And you can go into the office you call Coach Johnson, hey, I need to talk to you. Hey, I'm in the office. It's Sunday. He's there. Everybody else is at church, but his church is in the office. He's watching film, looking at X's and O's. That's what's Coach Johnson.
So, Chaz, look, man, this has been a blast. Hopefully, we have not taken up too much of your time this morning, as you wanted to go 20 to 30 minutes, but this one went closer to 55. But we really do want to thank you for taking time to join us to talk about your incredible career there at South Carolina. Any final words about the Gamecocks in South Carolina, or anything that you would like to say? Chaz, the floor is all yours, my friend.
Hey man, it's always go Gamecocks, and also I would just say, man, look, we coming back. We're coming back for last year wasn't as great, but we're coming back with vengeance this year. I really, bleed on it, and I really believe that we're going to get it. We're going to get it together this year, and we're going to make some noise in the SEC.
Chaz, we would love to catch up with you to talk about the Gamecocks this fall. If you have time, have a wonderful rest of your summer. Thank you again for doing this, and we will catch up with you this fall to continue to talk a little Gamecock cocky football, okay?
Right. I appreciate you guys for having me on. I appreciate you guys. Take
All
care
right.
now.
Chaz, very grateful. Be good, brother.
All right, so Heath, we are a technology show, and with technology, eventually you're going to run into issues with audio issues. We apologize for the audio issues there on Chaz's end, but thankfully you were able to hear the majority of that interview. It was just choppy, but you could make out what he said.
Oh yeah, and it wasn't like that for the entire interview.
Right.
But yeah, Chaz played for the great Ellis Johnson under Steve
Yeah.
Spurrier there at South Carolina. He was part of that team that beat #1 Alabama.
Yes.
And he was in the game when the big hit happened at the Outback Bowl where Jadeveon Clowney killed a guy. Stephen, I've always wanted to do a show about, like a documentary type show of guys on the other end of great plays, whether that be, hey, he threw the game-winning pass. I want to talk to the defensive back.
Yeah.
The guy that drained a three from half court. Well, the guy that was guarding that was in his face.
Right.
I always want to talk to those guys and get their perspective on
Right.
things. Some people don't want to talk about it, but that guy that got hit in that game,
yes.
I'd love to hear his story because I guarantee you he was like, it's like two things went wrong on this play. It was like the fullback was supposed to go here. He missed his assignment, and this guy was supposed to block down.
And I got rained out to dry.
Yeah, he goes, and the one guy you left open on the entire field untouched is the best player in college football.
Yeah.
I would love to hear his side of it.
Right.
But yeah, it's crazy about what happened. But
right.
Some guys take that and they have fun with it for the rest of their life. And like Chris Webber played with the Fab Five, Michigan. Those freshmen made the national championship game. They lost. They came back the next year. They make the national championship game, and they lose to North Carolina. And Chris Webber called a timeout when they were out of timeouts.
Right.
Do you know what Chris Webber got on his license plate after he signed his NBA contract? Get a TO. Get a timeout. He was like, I made a huge mistake.
Right.
I was the butt of the joke. But if he laughs along with it, you take that away from everybody.
Right.
And so that's what I always like. And he went on to have this enormous and long NBA career. So, but yeah, crazy things to think about.
Heath, I know that we probably shouldn't be doing this during the Chaz Sutton interview or at the end of it, but I do have a question for you.
Okay.
What is it about Michigan and their sketchy coaches? Have you heard the latest out of Michigan right now?
Stephen, I'll say this. you can talk about sketchy coaches at any school in and out of the SEC. That includes Michigan. That would include San Jose State. That would include Baylor. That would include, Florida Atlantic. It would include, Appalachian State. I mean, you can talk about sketchy coaches here, there, anywhere. Here's the thing. The business is filled with such bad people and bad guys.
Right. But do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I've heard the stories. I don't know what's going on at Michigan. I will say this.
I said, but I mean, do you know the most recent one?
Are you talking about, which one are you talking about? Because there's actually two of them out there. Which one are you specifically talking about?
The basketball coach that literally just won a national championship, and it is reported that he is doing the Jim Harbaugh thing of going to the NFL, and this guy is going to take the Spurs job because there's allegations coming down on him.
This isn't new. I mean, you used to see a lot of coaches back in the day.
Right.
A lot of people said this about Urban Meyer. That he was cheating his butt off at Bowling Green, and before they could do anything, he's off at Utah.
Yeah.
And he's cheating his butt off at Utah. Before the NCAA could do anything, he's at Florida.
Yeah.
And he's cheating his butt off at Florida, and before he can do anything, he fakes health issues and steps away. And then he cheats his butt off at Ohio State. Before they can do anything, he retires.
Yeah.
And so and then he goes to the NFL, and he's cheating on his marriage. So Stephen, listen, I've made this joke on the show for many years. Is there a single coach, head coach or position coach in any sport in the SEC, football, basketball, whatever, that you would buy a used car from and feel confident in it?
No, all right. I'll give you two.
All right, give me two.
Sammy Pittman.
Okay.
Mark Richt. That's it. Mark Richt, Sam Pittman. That's it.
I don't even know if I buy one from Sam Pittman. I would listen to him.
Right.
But I mean,
that's it, man. Other than that, nope.
I mean, it's just kind of one of those things. Now, Mark Richt, I'll give you all day long.
Yes.
And that's what made Mark Richt special. I would actually put Steve Spurrier in that category because Rick Johanningsmeyer, the NCAA investigator that busted almost every SEC team, I actually had a sit-down conversation with him, a very long, in-depth, detailed, hour-plus long conversation with him. And it's actually probably closer to 2 hours. And he talked about Steve Spurrier, and he said he's the only coach I know that doesn't call. It's like if we ask him, like, hey, where's so-and-so? They usually call a secretary. They call another coach, like, hey, can you find this person? Can you find this player? Can you find this coach? Can you find this file? He's like, Steve Spurrier. It's like, hey, we need to talk to so-and-so. Said Steve gets up and goes, okay, come with me. And like, Steve knew where they were. And he said he was so impressed by that. And I'll say this, how much Bobby Bowden and Florida State despised Steve Spurrier, and Florida State was the hottest thing in America at the time as far as college football programs.
Right.
You could not find a program hotter than Florida State. And here comes pesky Steve Spurrier. Do you think Florida State would have turned in Steve Spurrier if they had anything on him? Abso-freaking-lutely they would.
Yeah.
And they couldn't.
Right.
And that's what Rick Johanningsmeyer mentioned to me when we talked. He goes, people, we'll get calls like, well, he's clearly cheating. He's like, okay, where's the proof? He goes, well, he's winning. It's like, well, that's not proof.
Wow. There's Free Shoes University down there. I tell you what.
Now, Steve had stuff to turn in on Florida State.
Right.
But so that's the craziness of it. But it's insane to see, Stephen, of some of the stuff. I'll say this. I think might's the key word, might buy a used car from Dabo.
No.
You wouldn't
No.
buy a used car from Dabo?
No.
Okay.
Not after all the shadiness that he's doing about Pete Golding and the tampering with the player from Ole Miss versus Clemson. Nah.
Do you think there's tampering going on there?
I think Dabo's back is against the wall, and I think he's grasping at any straws he can right now. That's my honest opinion, man. I think
there's
it has
tampering
crashed and burned
everywhere. I think 100% of the schools in America, just not the SEC, in America, I think 100% of them are or have tampered.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any doubt about it.
But to what extent, though, you know?
Correct. That is the correct answer. To what extent?
Right.
But these guys are jumping in the transfer portal. They already have do not contact me. I mean, come on, man. That means there is a deal kind of worked out.
Right.
I'll say this very quickly, Stephen. Back in the day, we'll use Tommy Tuberville leaving Ole Miss, going to Auburn. I haven't talked to anybody. No, your agent did. Your agent talked to Auburn. Your agent has worked everything out. You have talked to your agent.
Right.
No, you never talked to Auburn. So did he tell the truth? Yes. But was he talking to Auburn? Well, his agent sure was, and he was talking about taking that job.
Yeah.
And so, and that's kind of the thing of what's kind of going on now with this tampering and the transfer portal and all this stuff going on is like, well, I never officially talked to the school that I'm going to that I've already enrolled in 12 minutes after I left here. It's one of those things where, the agent talks to them. So is there tampering? Yes. Is there a loophole? Yes.
Right.
So it's what it is.
All right. So, Heath, that is going to wrap up our interview there with Chaz Sutton. Hopefully, you guys did enjoy it. And once again, I apologize for the audio issues, but you are going to run into that from time to time. And hopefully, you got a lot out of that interview. We will see you on the Thursday edition of the Stingray Show. And Heath, go ahead and sign us off.
Stephen, I don't think we're going to have any bad weather here today, but they said it's going to be cloudy and a high of like 85, 86.
That's nice.
So that's different.
Yes.
It's been mild. It's been mild for the spring and the summer so far. It's been very mild.
Yes.
So I'll take that compared to what it usually is. So I'm going to go outside. I'm going to do some yard work. I got some work I got to do at another place. So I'm going to be outside a lot today, trying to make a lot of things happen. So for those who missed yesterday was National Hydration Day.
Yes.
To stay hydrated. Hey, Stephen, I learned this yesterday as well. Whatever your body weight is, let's just say we all weigh 100 pounds. Divide by 2, and that's how much water you should drink. So whatever your weight is, divide it by 2, and that's what you should drink. So if you weigh 100 pounds, you should be drinking 50 ounces of water a day.
Right.
That's insane. I never heard that. And I was like, whoa. So yeah. So if someone weighed 200 pounds, you need to be drinking 100 ounces a day. Right. If you weigh 300 pounds, you need to be drinking 150 ounces a day.
Right.
So, yeah. I was thinking about Hydration Day yesterday, and I started Googling some things and ChatGPT, and I was like, whoa, I never knew this.
Right.
So there you go. But anyway, if you would have asked me yesterday, I was like, oh, man, I'm sure if you got like anywhere between 40 and 50 ounces of water, you're good for the day. That's not necessarily the case.
Mm-hmm.
So learned something yesterday. You know what I did this morning? I drank 40 ounces of water as soon as I woke up. And as soon as the show's over, I'll drink another 40 ounces of water. So going to try to get half my weight in today.
Gotcha.
So there you go. But with that, stay hydrated. It looks like it'll be easy to stay cool in some parts of the Southeast today.
Yep.
So with that, sayonara, good Lord willing, we'll see you tomorrow.
All right. When it comes to farm, garden, and outdoor living in West Alabama, there's one name the locals trust: Tuscaloosa Farmers Co-op. Located at 4301 McFarland Boulevard in Northport, Alabama, the co-op has everything you need to keep your land, home, and hobbies thriving. From farm and garden supplies to hunting gear, farmhouse gifts and decor, and locally made items, they've got it all under one roof. Need seeds, seasonal flowers, or fresh vegetables? You'll find them here, plus pet supplies and year-round propane tank exchanges to keep things running smoothly. Stop by today and see why Tuscaloosa Farmers Co-op has been serving our community since 1961, where quality and hometown service come together. Call them today at 205-339-8181. Once again, that is 339-8181. The Tuscaloosa Farmers Co-op, your local partner for everything farm, garden, and outdoors. The temperatures are heating up, and whether you're working on the land or heading out on the water, the equipment you rely on matters. From tractors and implements to bass boats and pontoons, life doesn't slow down when something goes wrong. That's where Alpha Insurance comes in. They offer coverage designed to protect both your farm equipment and your time on the water. Call the Jeff Nee Agency of Alpha today at 205-462-8192. Once again, that is 205-462-8192, or the number on your screen. Alpha Insurance, covering what moves you on land and on the lake. For over 100 years, the Bank of Moundville has been a name clients can trust. The Bank of Moundville is more than just a bank. They're your neighbors, your friends, and your community partners. Their unique approach to financial education has always centered around families. They believe that financially strong homes today lay the foundation for a brighter futures for tomorrow's generation. You can call them today at 205-371-2227. Once again, that is 371-2227 to schedule an appointment to build your financial security. The Bank of Moundville is a member FDIC and an equal housing lender. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Ferguson of South's Finest Meats, the official sponsor of the Stingray Show, has a message for you.
Everything we do here is fresh and custom made, custom to order. You know, I tell people when they come in, if you don't see what you like, ask somebody. We've got the capability to process it, make it. If you want a different blend of hamburger meat, we'll do you a brisket blend. We'll do you a chuck blend. We'll do you a sirloin blend. We do all that right here. We are a butcher shop. That's what we do. So please don't be afraid to ask if you don't see what you like. We can make you any size patty you want. We can make you any amount you want. People call me and say, well, how many patties come in the box? Well, ma'am, how many would you like in a box? You want 12, we'll put 12. You want 25, we'll put 25.
That's just one of the many things that South's Finest Meats has to offer, the official butcher shop of the Stingray Show. Spring has sprung, and now is the perfect time to stock your lakes with fish such as bluegill, minnows, threadfin shad, and tilapia. If this is something you're interested in, make sure to call Honey Hole Fisheries and biologist Jeff Bagwell. He can be contacted at 205-799-0192. Once again, that is 205-799-0192. Jeff Bagwell and Honey Hole Fisheries also offers Texas Hunter, products, including fish feeders. Now, if you're wondering about the population of your lake when it comes to fish, they also offer Shocking of Lakes to give you a full in-depth report on your lake with fish population. If you're interested, contact Honey Hole Fisheries once again at 205-799-0192. He will be happy to help you build the lake of your dreams.